Friday, good evening, everyone. This is meteorologist Timmy Albertson here with you guys for tonight's weather chat. Things are a little bit quiet right now across a good portion of the country, courtesy of an upper level ridge that just does not really want to be moving much. But there are signs that it could be moving later on this week, and that might try to bring at least some activity into the area. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and take a look at our good friend over here, the radar imagery, and we're not really seeing much across parts of the Midwest this evening. Temperatures a little bit mild, sitting in the mid 40s across some parts around the Davenport area. Also, looking back up towards the Minneapolis region, they're also sitting in the 40s for the most part. Dew points right now, though, in the upper 20s. We'll likely be seeing those temperatures dropping back down into the 20s as we head into the overnight tonight. And even looking further up towards the Canadian border, around the Duluth area, temperatures there are in the lower 40s. But again, they are starting to drop now that the sun is beginning to set, and we'll likely be seeing those temperatures kind of continuing to drop their way down into the 30s and into the 20s overnight tonight. But is this going to be continuing? Yes, this is some above average temperatures. And as a matter of fact, they might be staying above average for at least the next couple of days before maybe trying to return a little bit closer to average as we head towards the second half of the work week. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our good friends here, the latest weather map. Let's go ahead and get the latest one up here. And basically, here is what we got going on. Not really much. Things pretty quiet. There is a little bit of a disturbance making its way off the Pacific coast, maybe bringing some rain showers across parts of the higher elevations there out in Oregon. But all things considered, it is generally pretty quiet out there across a good portion of the country this evening. And that's likely going to remain the case as we head into the overnight tonight, though temperatures will vary just a little bit here. Upper level map here, winds showing that we have, again, the kind of this broad upper level ridge that is located across the central part of the United States. There is a little bit of a disturbance kind of pushing its way off the Pacific coast, but all things considered, it's mainly this ridge that is really just kind of dominating the regional weather. And as a matter of fact, as we head our way through the next couple of days, we can see that ridge just kind of sitting across the central part of the U.S., even as we head through the day tomorrow and then working our way into the day on Wednesday. However, you'll notice we have this trough that's going to be pushing its way off the Pacific coast here as we go into the day on Wednesday, more so heading into Wednesday night. That'll begin to kind of basically chip away at that upper level ridge. That upper level ridge will begin to move further off towards the east. And long story short, we could be seeing at least a little bit of active weather going into the mountains and then eventually into the upper part of the Midwest as we head towards the end of the work week. However, you'll notice here that this is not the strongest upper level trough that we have seen. As a matter of fact, even though it is going to bring some cooler temperatures, it's still not necessarily what we would want for this time of the year to talk about snow. Now, again, there is going to be possibility for at least a few snow showers, but really, especially across the upper Midwest, this thing's looking like it may end up being mainly rain. So let's take a look here, of course, over at the pressure here, the surface pressure map, and basically kind of show you what's going on. So again, there's some of our activity across the west coast there, but all things considered, very, very quiet as that area of high pressure just kind of basically dominates the good 2/3 of the country. But as we head our way into the middle part of the week, we can see as that upper level trough begins to kind of dig its way into the mountains, we'll see this area of low pressure developing. And this area of low pressure is going to begin to intensify, but it does not have the coldest air to work with. And it just kind of more or less occludes itself right across parts of the upper plains, going into the upper part of the Midwest as we head into the second half of the work week. Now, as mentioned, this thing does not have a lot of colder air to work with. Now, if let's say we had a normal air mass in place, well, this would probably bring us some decent snowfall across parts of the upper Midwest, but it's not. It is going to probably end up being mainly rain across parts of the Dakotas, heading back into Minnesota. A little bit of a cold front will try to push through, but all things considered, by the time that colder air does rush in on the backside of that cold front, most of the precipitation will probably be coming to an end. Now, we could be seeing some snow showers, though, still up across the Canadian prairies, maybe across parts of Montana, but not really expecting this to be a big snowfall event, at least this time around. Now, behind that, there are indications that maybe, again, temperatures might kind of moderate closer towards average, still maybe a little bit above average, but at least not quite as above average as what we have seen so far, for most of February, and as a matter of fact, for most of the winter, save for that 2-week stretch we had in the middle of January where it was actually winter. But all things considered, that's just kind of a little bit there of the setup. So that is pretty much really it for tonight. Again, not really a whole lot to talk about for tonight's weather chat. Again, pretty quiet out there, and that's probably going to remain the case. But we will have a little bit of activity as we head towards the second half of the work week. So that'll at least give us something to talk about. But for those of you who are like me and love winter, maybe not the best news this time around, but maybe we'll have to see what we get towards next weekend and maybe going into next work week with those temperatures being a little bit more towards average. And maybe we might actually see some snow again. So, with that in mind, I thank you all very much for taking the time to join me here on tonight's weather chat. I know it was a quick one. We'll be back here tomorrow evening at the usual time. So, until then, keep enjoying the weather.